Hey everybody, this is Chelsea. Today's video is going to be an album share, finally. This is for my December daily for 2022. Usually I like to finish my December dailies in January, kind of like right after Christmas wraps up, sit down and spend a day or two just finishing up the album. This year it just did not happen. So I actually ended up finishing it in the summertime, which wasn't my most favorite thing because it sat there and stared at me. For that whole time. It kind of just sat in a corner staring at me. So I'm going to try really hard for 2023 to finish it in January at some point. But I'm going to walk you through all my finished pages. I do have two videos on my channel that I'll link below showing me making some of those pages. I did use the Creative Design Team Days of December sketchbook. This is a 6x8 sketchbook that we created. It has all the measurements. There's 6x8 pages, 3x4 pocket pages, 4x6 pocket pages, and this is what I used to make all of my pages. And it was such a help to speed up the process. I actually got all the way to day 21 before I packed it up for the season. So I got a really good chunk of it done at the end of the year, kind of in between Christmas and New Year's. And this was a big part of that. Well, the Creative Design Team, we have another sketchbook. Now, we didn't call it Days of December. It's just volume 2. All of these sketches could be used any time of the year. So we got more new sketches, another 46 sketches, including some 3x4 pocket pages and 4x6 pocket pages. I will link both of these down below. And I will also link the playlist at the end of today's video because today is a collaboration with the Creative Design Team. Several of us are showing you our completed Days of December or December daily albums. And then there's a couple of us who are doing other projects. So if you're not into making Christmas albums, maybe you will find some inspiration from their projects as well. So I have my title page here. Andrea did create a free cut file for this. Hers is slightly different than mine. I actually got mine from Paige Evans. And if I would have known that she created one, I would have used hers, but I had already made this by then. I added the year and I did back this in black cardstock just to have like a solid backing on it. Now I used the Christmas Story collection and a little bit of mix-in paper from last year to do this, as well as cardstock, plain cardstock. And all the stickers that are in here are from that Christmas Story sticker sheet. Now, I always like to include a big picture of my tree somewhere in here. In fact, I usually like to have a few 6x8 pictures. I also created this calendar page. So this is done in Cricut Design Space, and you use the drawing pen to do all of this on your Cricut. And this is a free download that is over on the CDT website. So if you follow the link down below, you'll also see where you could download that for free along with Andrea's cut file. So I embellished this with stickers and a little die cut word here that I covered with gold paint pen. This is cut out on the Cricut, and then just some little banner flags there. And I didn't put something on every single day. I just highlighted a few different things on the dates that they happened. I didn't want to have just all writing. I wanted to leave room for some embellishment. This is the first time that I've included a calendar page like this, and I really like how it turned out and kind of gives an overview of the month. Now, I do have a lot of repeated elements in this book. I like to repeat things so that it ties the whole thing together, as well as using like a single collection. I find it speeds things up, and it also makes it very cohesive. I do alternate between like printed journaling and handwritten journaling, just depending on how much I have to say, what space I have to write it in. If I have a longer story, I usually always print it because I just can't write that small. So this one here, I actually printed on the computer and then die cut it with this stitch die. And for my numbers, I have the exact same numbers. So I have a circle in the gold glitter paper and then a smaller circle in the French vanilla, and it's cut with a stitched circle die. So you can see that there. And then my numbers are cut on the Cricut. And I've used these a couple of times because they're already perfectly sized to fit into my projects. So sometimes I'll just cut them out of different paper for a different year since I have all the numbers kind of ready to go in a Cricut file. The poinsettias that you're going to see in this album were cut on the Cricut, and then I used a lot of the little greenery sprigs from the Christmas Story card making workshop set. And those are in pine glitter paper. I love having touches of shine and sparkle on my Christmas pages. The stickers are also from the Christmas Story sticker sheet. All right, so we're just gonna go along here. I used the Everyday Life album from Close to My Heart, and the page protectors are from Close to My Heart as well. I love how thick and sturdy these pages are. You can cut into them, you can do different things, and they really stand the test of time. In my project, I have a mix of Christmassy things. So like day one was Advent calendar. This was her first time having, my daughter's first time having an Advent calendar. And then, day two is just her playing at Grandma and Grandpa's house. Day three is playing with Play-Doh. So I just mix in Christmassy things like setting up the Christmas tree. This one I had a big story about her first time getting to help decorate the tree. So I typed it up and then I cut it into 2 pieces to spread it out over the 3x4 pockets. Sometimes it's easier to make like faux pocket pages like a couple of the girls have shown, or to just kind of make it work. So I do this sometimes is I split things between the 2 pockets. You'll see later on I do that with a 4x6 pocket as well, splitting my photo across 2 pockets. Here's a little insert that I made. This is using a flip flap. I did leave it open so that I could take the photo out, but I just reinforced it with some paper and then punched my holes in there to match the holes on the album. And then for this one, I love little interactive things on my albums. I do try and keep a lot of this behind plastic because my daughter loves to look at these and she's still quite little. So I'm not expecting them to stay in immaculate condition. So I'm trying to put as much as I can behind plastic, even little inserts like this. It's nice to have them protected by the flip flaps. These flip flaps do have a sticky strip on them, so I could stick it directly to a page, but I thought this was a fun and different way to use it. And then for this, the page protectors are side loading on the 6x8. So what I did was cut a slit right in my page protector so that I could have a little pocket and have my journaling come out the top of that pocket. And if you don't want your slits to rip out, it's a really good idea to punch holes. So I punch holes first at the end of where my slit is going, and then I take a knife and I cut along. And usually I do 2 cuts so that the slit is a little bit wider. It's not just a single slit. And that allows really easy sliding of your tags and things back and forth. And I think having hidden journaling like this is a great way to still include a bigger story or more of the story without it, taking up a big chunk of your page and maybe having to do a smaller photo. Lots of my days have like really little journaling. I don't have a ton to say, so then I will just kind of fit that in with my handwriting here and there. These embellishments were part of the die cut pack for the Christmas Story collection, or I should say the embellishment pack. And there's little acrylic pieces. Some of these acrylic pieces, I did use a few of them in this book, and they did end up adding a bit of bulk to this album. You'll see when we get to the end what I end up having to do at the end of my album because things were getting a little bit thick. Usually I put most things quite flat, but even having like a few layers of die cuts and stickers and stuff together still adds some bulk. And I did make good use of the liquid gold paint pens from Spectrum Noir. There's 3 different nibs, and you will see that throughout this book. That's what I did here on this little ornament. I did a little bit of journaling on here, and then I used that paint pen to color the acrylic piece and also the finer tipped ones to add details. And I'll try and remember to point that out as we go. Now, a lot of the times what I did was use the same papers on both facing pages. So I wasn't making these to like be a flowing spread, kind of like I would do for like a 2-page 12 by 12 layout where it flows from one to the next. But they do coordinate because we have repeated elements and we have the same patterns. So you can see there's that toffee color, there's the pine color. We got the same 2 pattern papers as over here. So it's all very cohesive. Day 6, we got a couple of little stories going on. My daughter was looking through some of my scrapbook pages like she likes to do. Makes me a little nervous when they are not in an album yet and she's just looking through like a stack of pages, but she's usually pretty gentle. And then a picture from one of our Zooms. And over here, I'm talking about my Christmas shopping and how it looks so different because most of my stuff is online orders these days. Christmas shopping in person is not my most favorite thing to do. Then day 8, you can see the color palette shifts a little bit. It's still the same collection, but I went more for those greens and grays and golds. This day I got to go to the spa, which was part of my Christmas present from my husband. Went for a massage. I highly recommend scheduling a massage for yourself sometime in December. It was so much fun and much needed. I did my journaling on a little tag up there. These are from the embellishment pack. We have the acrylic 'Tis the Season on top of matching gold glitter paper, kind of like shadow for it. On this one, I did a 6x8 photo. I captured this really cute photo of my daughter. She was jumping in the snow and just having the best time. So I thought I would just do a 6x8. I actually printed my journaling right on the photo. So I did that in, I think it was either PicMonkey. I think it was PicMonkey that I did it in. And then I knew I wanted to say pure joy. And there was a sticker from the sticker sheet that said joy. So I just kind of spaced it out and then deleted the word joy from my title to leave room for the sticker to go there. And this was the perfect picture to do it with because it's just sky up here. Like there's nothing to really see. So it was a great place to put all that big chunk of journaling. And then to tie it in with this page, I just did a few little banner pieces, the stars and the number for the day. So a super simple page, right? I'm not using a sketch or anything there, but I love using big photos. Here I got a picture of myself addressing my Christmas cards, and then a picture of my Christmas cards, and another cluster of greenery. Some little tags up there. These ones are not functional. They're just there for design. And then we have another 3x4. So here's something Christmassy. Here's something just everyday life of, hanging out at home, making like snack platters for lunch and fun things like that. And I enjoy all of it. I enjoy having a mix, and it definitely doesn't have to be all Christmas. Something I hear a lot is people are like, my life is not interesting enough. Things are, so repetitive and boring. But I have several albums of doing December Daily before I even had kids, and I always found something to document, and I love looking back at those projects because things do change over time. This page I used 3x4 flip flaps, another interactive element. So this flips up. This was from like a Santa Claus parade. This one flips down. I know this is really hard to see. So when these are open, I have 4 3x4s all the way down. And then this little 3x3 flips open, and I have the journaling printed really tiny in order to fit it in here. There's pictures of the fireworks that went on that night. So this one flips in first. And I did use a little magnet in here so that, let's see, this one, the magnet is under right here. So this one does not have a magnet, but this one does. So it holds it. So when I'm flipping through my album, it doesn't just pop open on me. And then I think, the top one, I didn't put a magnet because there's not 2 pieces there. And because it's facing down, it's going to stay closed anyways. But since this one is facing up, it's more likely to pop open. Plus, I can put this one underneath this one, and it holds it all in. So then if I'm just flipping through, these aren't flying around and like flicking open on me. Magnets are a great way to kind of keep things interactive, but pulled together so they're not just like flying all over the place. On this one here, this was a little pocket card, and I just used liquid pearls to add little ornaments to this. And then of course, more clusters of greenery. Here I have another place where I've cut a slit and put my journaling. So I really love this design, but I pretty much always have some sort of journaling on every single page. And I'm glad I do, because this one here, this story was just about how we were cutting down on our daughter's screen time, and also how much she was loving Mickey and Minnie's Wish Upon a Christmas. And it's funny because in here it says, I think we'll be watching them on repeat all month, the Mickey and Minnie Christmas specials. Well, I should have said is we will be watching them on repeat all year, because she was still asking to watch them all winter long into the summertime. She was wanting to watch them. So things like that is just funny to look back and read them. So you can see I am repeating elements. I have zip strips here, the branding strips, have this really nice black and white plaid, and I've continued that down onto here, same with the same gray color, the same red pattern paper. So it just helps everything flow, even though the design doesn't necessarily flow. I like mixing in the different pocket pages, so 4x6s, 3x4s. I don't usually do all 6x8 pages in my albums, and it always seems to work out. I don't seem to have a problem finding things to put on the back, and sometimes that might mean I just need to add an insert or something if there's a certain photo that doesn't fit. So here we went Christmas shopping at the mall, and this kind of happened this day. I picked up a wallflower from Bath and Body Works. We don't usually have a lot of scents going on in our house, but I really wanted a Christmas scent. And then I just wrote in my journaling how we kind of talked about it for days, like, oh, doesn't it smell so good in here? Oh, it feels so cozy. So I like that I also have the scent. It's the balsam and firewood scent, and I'm glad I have that documented. So if I want to go pick up another one this year, I know which scent it was, because I would not be able to remember probably. Here we're doing another Christmassy activity, going and looking at Christmas lights. Now this might be my favorite thing in this album. This is a Paige Evans stitching file. So I sized it down. Usually hers are like, they import it 12x12, but I sized this down so that it would fit in my album. It does stick out past the pages just a little bit, but it still stays within the album, so that is fine. It doesn't bother me. So I went ahead and I hand stitched this, and I thought this worked perfectly here because we're looking at Christmas lights. And I did a chain stitch and then lots of straight stitches or back stitches, and this did take a while. I cut out the cardstock and the glitter paper, and then all the little light bulbs I cut out cardstock in there. It did take me a while, but I enjoy hand stitching, and so it was just something fun that I would work on periodically. And then to put this in here, what I did was I cut another piece that was just solid that matched the outline. And then I had little like tags that I punched my holes in that I sandwiched between these two layers, the cut file or the stitching file and then the solid back. I just sandwiched them in there to the right amount apart so that they would be a spot for me to punch holes. And that worked out really well. And I did have more photos from this evening, so I just put them on the back here and then added my journaling here as well. And then my day number is over here. I love how this turned out. It's such a great texture. You have all of the texture from the stitching, you have the texture from the glitter paper. It's just one of my favorite things in this album and something a little bit different. And then we're on to day 17. I actually took a picture of myself wrapping presents and the pile of presents. I got pretty fancy last year. Every year it kind of changes. Sometimes I get really fancy with all the ribbons and all those kinds of things, doing fancy gift tags, and sometimes I don't. It just really depends. It changes from year to year. If you can see the beautiful gold that's coming off of there, that is from the gold paint pens. I just love that. It's such a pretty gold. I also have it on this little tag up here that's cut out of the black. I edged that in the gold as well. All right, here I usually have like one big baking day, and I spent 7 hours apparently baking while Isabella watched Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and played and just hung out. Now she's really into baking with me, so I probably can't get away with that again. Interesting, I did not put any pictures of my baking. I'm not even sure if I took pictures of my baking. I usually give it away, quite a bit of it, to like our neighbors and everything. So hopefully I have a picture of that somewhere, but it did not make it into this album. Now here's the one that I was telling you about where I had made the 3x4 pockets fit. So I think, yes, this side I had planned to use 3x4. And for this one, I only had a 4x6 landscape photo. So I just cut it in half. Thankfully, it worked out. It doesn't always work out. The cut was not like between somebody's face. So Isabella and I were out for lunch with our good friends. And Lexi had brought Isabella a little gift, a little adorable Minnie Mouse purse from Disneyland when she went. And so she got that. It was her first like little purse, and she just thought that was the best thing ever. So definitely had to put that in my December daily, and I'm glad it worked out that I could just cut this photo right in half, and it didn't ruin the photo or anything, and so I was still able to use that page design. Now here, I love this. I love the triangle design that's on here, and then I also had another triangle page over here, and I added a little dot border with the fine tip gold paint pen. I outlined this one in the gold paint, and I have the gold glitter paper behind there. I love this spread. You know, sometimes there's just spreads that really stand out to you that for whatever reason, whether it's the paper combo you chose or maybe it's the memories that you documented, but some just like really stand out to you. I love this design. And probably because it's something I don't use triangles a lot. And this one actually, I double layered it. So I have pine cardstock back there, and then I have the pattern paper on there. So it even has like a mat to it, which looks really good. Now you might notice there's no journaling on here, and that is because I typed up my journaling and I made this little tag that has like a label on it so I can just pull it out. Now to do that, I did have to make a slit in my pocket, and I had to make the slit like pretty large. It's that whole side of the pocket, but it worked out because there was just like enough tension in there to hold it. I haven't had any problems with this slipping. The opening for this to fill this pocket is on the other side, and it has stayed put, no problem. So far so good. Feels pretty snug in there, but I could still easily pull that in and out. This was the story about our gingerbread house and how it came crumbling down. And then I realized that if I quickly iced it and stuck it outside, it was like -30 or something. So it sat outside on the barbecue for a couple of minutes and it was frozen solid. So it worked really good. And then here I repeated that design with the triangle. And then instead of just matting it straight, I used a border punch to add a little bit of design there. This is me with my friend Nancy, who does my hair. She's been doing my hair for like, I don't know, close to 20 years probably. So we always have a good time hanging out and chatting. Okay, over here I actually fit in 3 photos. I have another ornament back here that I added some details to with that gold paint pen again. You can see how some pages I have more ornaments, some pages I have more poinsettias, but I'm using the same collections, so it still all goes together. Right here, this is actually a slimline die, and it has a stitched edge and like a little scallop, and it has like scalloped ends on it too, but I just kind of stuck it on the middle of my page and then trimmed off both sides because I needed somewhere for my journaling, but I wanted something that wasn't just like a plain straight cut. I wanted some detail, and that actually worked out really good for that. More ornaments. And this isn't anything big. It was just my husband and my daughter just playing around and looking at the tree. And I just said the best thing about Christmas holidays is spending time together, cozy at home. I love watching Isabella and Daddy playing together. So nothing groundbreaking, but just cute memories, fun things to document. Then we're up here to Christmas Eve. I have a picture of us all in front of the tree. I did another slit where I have my journaling just tucked in there on this tag. I topped it with a little piece that I cut with a scallop border. Did the same thing with a ribbon and tying with baker's twine up there. And then this was a big sticker and it was too big for this page. So I used one of my dies to cut down the sticker and make it a better size because there was like some empty space around it. So I just cut down the sticker with my die and that worked perfectly. Here's my husband reading our daughter the night before Christmas while she had her bedtime snack. And then for Christmas morning, I had more photos that I wanted to use, so I did another insert. And I believe for this one, I actually used one of the page protectors. So I used a 6x8 page protector, and then I just cut it down and used my fuse tool to fuse it all along these two sides and this side. So this was a pocket card that came with the collection. So I had a good spot to write all my journaling. And then I used 4x4 flip flaps to include pictures of Christmas morning. So picked some of my favorite photos and stuck those in there. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I got a picture of me and a picture of my husband. And then of course we always have cute pictures of our daughter and our dog. And then in here, I added a whole bunch of this little gold star confetti. Let's see if I can dump it down. So I love this holiday memories, but I hadn't found anywhere else to use it. And so I just turned this into a little bit of like a shaker pocket. And it's just a fun little element. It's kind of a nice little sparkly surprise. You can see some of it at the bottom here. And just something different to do. And then here are a couple other pictures. I made brunch in the morning. And then here's our dog thinking he's going to finish all the turkey leftovers, which he did not because he would be very sick. And so now we are getting to the end here. And the reason why we are getting to the end is because I was running out of space. So I got all the way to day 21 before I kind of got busy with life, and this project got set aside for months. And so when I came back to it, I was like, oh, well, I only have, so many more days to do. But then as I was making pages, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is getting so thick. Like I'm almost out of room. And I made it up to day 27. I'm like, I don't want to start another album for just like a few days. So my daughter started not feeling very well. I think it was the 28th or the 29th. She had a couple of kind of like down sick days where we didn't do a lot. So I didn't have a ton that it was really, I need to get that in the album anyways. So this was my final spread. I did include a shot of the weather. This was over like the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. So it didn't include the 26th. I didn't have a screenshot for that day. And there was some other weather pictures because we had some really cold weather in the beginning of the month, but they just didn't make it into this album. There wasn't a good spot for them, but I usually try include at least one kind of like weather screenshot somewhere in there. Now in here, I worked in a little bit of the mix-in paper, and you can see how these pages coordinate, but are not exact copies. I was kind of working with the scraps and things that I had left. Here I did that gold paint pen again on the edge of my pattern paper. 27th, we were baking Christmas cookies because we did not get them baked before Christmas. I did my big baking day, but we didn't actually make our Christmas cookies till after Christmas. She was 2. She doesn't really care. She got to eat icing and make cookies, so she doesn't really care when that happens. And then I ended my album with another 6x8 photo. This is a picture of my display that's on my front step. I have a lot of like vintage type looking things. And then this was an acrylic piece, or I think it's maybe a paperboard piece, and I just painted it with that gold paint pen again. So nothing too crazy, but just a nice way to end the album. I like starting and ending with large photos. I hope this gave you some really good ideas. Remember, go check out both of the sketchbooks. This is the new one, the volume 2. And also check out the playlist so you can catch all the rest of the Creative Design Team videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.